Hi, everybody. What's happening? It is week 3. So because it is spring break for many, Holy Week for many, Passover weekend, Easter weekend, we did not do live calls this week. So I am filming this for both groups. And I wanted to use this as an opportunity to basically share the information that I'm about to go over in terms of Stefan's account. I want to share that with both groups for 2 different reasons. So I'm going to get into what those are in just a minute. So let's review, since many of you guys might be like, oh, it's been a week and a half since we've done a call or since you've watched a recording. But this is week 3. We have one more week of this particular push group, the Coach Launchpad and the Spring Shakedown group. Both groups will be over after the month of April, and we'll be pushing toward something new to focus on for the month of May. But it's been very eye-opening to me talking about overall compensation structure strategy, that this is definitely an area that our team needs help with, okay? And that's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. For those of you that joined this because you love helping people and the compensation is not as important to you, that's totally fine. You can take or leave whatever information you want from this series that I've done. If you are somebody that is trying to leave your full-time job, if you have to make a certain amount of income in order to justify continuing to put time into Team Beachbody as a coach, if you are somebody that has just a goal to pay for a family vacation or pay for your mortgage, whatever it might be, then this is information that you not only want to just focus on this month, but you've got to start putting it into practice, okay? And you have to also continue to have the mindset that you are a business owner. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So what have we talked about so far? So if you're watching this, you're on one of the 2 calls. The Coach Launchpad group is for basically Emeralds, coaches, new coaches, comeback coaches, all different levels of tenure of coaches, but mostly Emeralds and below. And if you are in the Spring Shakedown group, then you are a very stable Emerald, or you're a Diamond, or you're a Star Diamond, and you're really trying to take it up a notch with your business or go toward rank or compensation goals. So collectively, what I've talked about with each of you guys, and if you're like, it might be because I talked about this in the opposite group that you're in. But we've talked about taking your to-do list and turning it into actions. We've talked about reworking your mornings and how crucial it is to start your mornings in a place that is of an abundant mentality. There is no CEO in the United States of America who is waking up and jumping on Facebook or checking emails. I promise you that. So really getting your mindset in the right place, that's where personal development, meditation, prayer, whatever it might be, comes into play. So how are you reworking your morning? Are you setting yourself up for that, or are you jumping right into the rat race, which puts you in a place of scarcity? Contrast versus clarity statements. These were huge in the Coach Launchpad group. You guys know what they are. If you're in Spring Shakedown, think about what is holding you back. 99.9% of the time, if you are not at the rank goal that you want to be, if you are not at the compensation goal you want to be, if you don't have the kind of team that you want, you need to look in the mirror and you need to figure out your contrast to clarity statement so that you are able to switch your mindset around and tell yourself truth. Coaching posts. Silly goose. Coach, go downstairs with daddy. Coaching posts. So are you doing and are you showing on your social media feed that you are looking for coaches, that you want to build your team? Are you talking about how this opportunity has changed your life financially, time freedom wise, your own personal development? Are you sharing that? Because if you're a coach that's only talking about challenge groups, you are only going to attract challengers. So if you want to attract coaches, That's what you need to put out there. That's what you need to talk about. Both groups have gotten the video that I love, the 5-minute video from Rachel about the urgency of becoming an Emerald coach immediately, which I'm going to talk a little bit about when I show you Stefan's stats. Proactivation. Both groups were asked to listen to that podcast from Brooke Castillo, which I thought was so amazing, that if you want results, you have to make a plan. You cannot just know where you're going. You're going on a trip, you're going to the islands for spring break. You need to know where you're starting from and where you're going. You can't just know where you're going. So making sure that you're understanding that, making sure that you're scheduling business hours. If you are trying to like squeeze in Beachbody when your kids go to bed, or squeeze in Beachbody when you hope you find some time on a Saturday, that is using hope as a strategy. That is not treating your business like a business. If you're okay with just squeezing it in and making it truly a side hustle, then that's fine. If you're a business builder, you've got to have office hours. Got to have office. And office hours can be as loose as, I'm going to wake up an extra 45 minutes earlier and work for 45 minutes Monday through Saturday before my workout starts, right? All that time rolls together as a compound effect. Honoring your plan to stick with what you say you're going to do and doing it, and then really enjoying the rewards that you are going to get, right? So that's having a proactivation mindset. Are you tracking income? There are some of you guys that are still not tracking your income. Can't force you, right? We've got this amazing document that Kelly Hutchinson's husband made us that tracks your income. It breaks it down by retail, by team cycle bonus, by matching bonus, by fast start bonuses, so that you can truly see quarter by quarter how your income is growing. It allows you to have those tabs at the bottom to look at business center by business center, which, you guys, is the reason why I'm able to share with you the information I'm about to share with you. So if you don't have time to track your income, outsource it, right? Ask your husband, ask your spouse, ask Tracy T, ask a college student who's going to be home for the summer to do it remotely, and you pay them, I don't know, $5 for the $10 a month to do it, whatever, but you've got to be able to track it. I love Darren Hardy's analogy that if you want to be a winner at anything, you have to be a tracker. There was no such Olympian that never trained for the Olympics and didn't track their running times, their gymnastics forms, and their structure. You've got to do the same thing for your business, okay? Inside leg strategy. Spring Shakedown got that. Huge. That's one of the reasons that my husband's legs have grown as they have, is because I've used the inside leg strategy for every single person who has gone either on Tracy 1 on his side, or now he's got a second business center. So I'm doing inside leg strategy 2 times because I have Stefan 1 and Stefan 2. So I'm playing around with really understanding it. And it's really cool when you get to the point where you just open up your genealogy and you know exactly where to put people based on being able to look at your volume. So hopefully we've gotten a good start on you guys getting really comfortable doing that. If you're in the Coach Launchpad group, I will be doing this group again, the Spring Shakedown information. I'll be sharing it so that all of you guys who are in Coach Launchpad can consume this information in the next 3 to 4 months. And then creating PV to TV. That, again, Spring Shakedown. How do we do that? First of all, what is PV? What is TV? How are we changing it so that we can do that with our leads? We can do that with our retail customers. We can do that with inherited customers. When you have coaches that quit their account and they all roll up to you, how can you be proactive with that? If you are on Spring Shakedown, I will show you guys my tracking strategy with how I do it. I have, I don't know, over 900 customers at this point. So I'm really using what Tracy T taught us in Faithfully Fit Central earlier this week on the new functionality in the back office on looking at subscription orders and being very proactive with that. So we've gone over a lot in the first 2 weeks. That's why this is a training for both of you guys. Both groups is what I'm referring to, that builds on each other. So if you're watching this and you're like, oh, I'm just going to jump into this group. No, you're going to be completely lost. You need to start from the beginning and work your way through because it is a building training. So with that being said, what we're going to cover today is showing you what my investment in my husband's account has done over the course of 5 years. I'm also going to talk with you a little bit about my mindset when I opened up my husband's account. And I want to try to talk to both groups, right? So if you're in the Coach Launchpad group, I'm talking to you because you might not have your husband signed on yet. And it doesn't have to be a husband. It can be a mom. It can be a sister, just another spouse. Some people do boyfriend and girlfriends if you're in a serious relationship. If you are in the Spring Shakedown group, the reason I'm talking to you about this is because I will not be doing these trainings forever and ever and ever and ever, right? If you want your coaches to thrive, you've got to be able to duplicate what this strategy is. What I want to share with both of you guys from a mindset standpoint is this. Sometimes I hear you guys say, well, I'm in a spot where I've got a coach that like sort of just does this as a side hustle. My coach doesn't do team calls. My coach doesn't teach me this stuff. I'm in no man's land. I'm all by myself. I don't know. I don't have a coach that teaches me this stuff. I never knew. No one ever told me. I'm going to give you some tough love for a second. We are all independent Beachbody coaches, okay? Independent Beachbody coaches, which means we are all independent business owners. One of the blessings that we have as being part of Team Faithfully Fit is that there are many, 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 many coaches who are growing this business, who are serious about making an impact on people's lives, and who are serious about making an income for their family that is substantial. That means like over 6 figures. So we are very lucky, and there's not a day that I'm not so grateful to be locking arms with other women who are like in this to win it, that know it's going to be hard but want to do it. And because we are part of a growing team, we have many women that are sharing things in Faithfully Fit Central that are beneficial. It's awesome. Not every team is like that, right? So when I first started, I joined with 2 friends from high school, one who was selling the business and she was new at it, and one who wasn't. There was no training, guys. There was absolutely no training at all. In fact, I was like a 3 or 4 star diamond coach already before my coach gave up her other MLM and actually started doing Beachbody. So how did I learn all of this, right? I was a 3-star diamond coach, maybe 14 months in, and I started asking questions. I went and I scheduled a call with Rob Pearson, who's Chelsea's husband. He's super great about strategy, and I started asking him questions. Jamie Innes's husband is another one. I started asking him questions. I went to YouTube. I went to Team Beachbody in the back office. I started asking people at corporate, regional people, who can teach me this? Where can I learn this information? What videos are out there? Because I knew that if I took ownership of it and understood it, I could teach it, I could apply it, I could show my team that it works, but it was up to me to do that. So if you're someone that's like, I'm not getting team calls, Shred Nation has calls, Faithfully Fit has calls, right? You can do whatever it is that you want to do and put into this. It doesn't, your success or your failure has nothing to do with your coach or your team. Period, right? It's just like our challengers, right? I can bring all of my challengers into a challenge group and I can provide them everything. Their workouts, I can have a shake shipped to them. I can basically give them motivation and encouragement, but I'm not there to make sure they're going to eat their containers every day, and I'm not there to make sure they're going to push play. My challengers are the ones that do all the hard work. So whether or not my challenger is successful, it doesn't have anything to do with me. So we have to remember that my success wasn't because of anything my coach did or didn't do. Alicia Dupree, very successful coach on our team, has nothing to do with what I have done or have not done for her, right? So we've got to have that mentality and just know that because we're part of a team that is filled with women that have so many different gifts, we are just surrounded, and iron sharpens iron, and we're sharpening each other, and we are lucky for that, you guys. There's not a day that goes by that I don't write that in my gratitude journal. So it is very important that you have that mindset, and if this is an area, if compensation is an area that you're not good at, if leadership is an area you're not good at, if you're frustrated because you haven't gotten that first win yet as a new coach, if you're frustrated because you've been sitting at the same rank for 2 years and you don't know what to do, you've got to have the ownership and the mentality of like, it's up to me to fix it, to find the answers, to ask for help, to get support, and then to put in the hard work, okay? So let's go through what I want to share with you guys. And the first thing is going to be this right here. I'm pretty sure that you guys can see this. Okay, hopefully you can. It would really not be good if I finished this whole thing and then realized that you guys couldn't see the image. Okay, so this is super ironic. I had actually forgotten this. All right, I'm going to go through this with you. I started drinking Shakeology in March of 2014. I did not start becoming a Beachbody coach until July. So this upcoming July will be my 5 years of being an actual Beachbody coach, okay? However, I signed up my husband when I was starting to think about becoming a coach. So I wasn't doing any call to actions. I wasn't doing anything on Facebook. I wasn't doing anything except thinking, maybe I'll be a Beachbody coach. Let me start researching what this is. And I would sit there in my rocking chair, nursing Nay 3 times a night because she was only 4 or 5, 6 months old. And I was watching all these videos of all these coaches saying, you've got to sign up your husband. Now, I put skin in the game. This is before I even sold a challenge pack to anyone. I signed up my husband because he was enjoying the shakes. He wanted to drink them. I'm like, you know what? Instead of me ordering 2 bags under one account, I'm just going to open up an account for you and let's just see what happens. I'm not ready to go all in, but $15 a month is not a huge investment to make if I do decide that I want to do this business. So one of the very first things that made my husband's account successful is that I had the mindset of being a business owner before I even committed to the business. I was willing to make investments in this business before anything was coming back to me in return. Now, I put my husband on the wrong leg that I teach you guys, right? My husband, I didn't know any of the leg strategy. I didn't know weak leg, left leg. I didn't know any of that. So he just showed up wherever the computer put him. But I opened his account in May of 2014. I started selling in July of 2014. And when I decided that I was going to sell my first challenge pack and go out on Facebook and show my progress on T25 at that point, which I wasn't even done with the program yet, I was like, I'm going to give it a year. I'm going to give it a year. And my husband is my person that I've got signed up. So I made the investment. I paid $120 that whole calendar year because I started him in May, right? So 8 months times $15 a month is around $120. It may have been like $128 because it's really $15.95 a month. But when I did the math, I did it with 15. So I paid $120 in business services fees. His account made $346. I don't know where my notes are. I had notes that I was going to talk to you guys about. His account made $346. And so if you take $346 and you subtract out what I actually invested in his account made $226. Okay? Now, a couple of things here. Some of you guys might be saying to yourself, or some of you guys might actually have coaches on your team that are like, well, I can't afford to open up my husband's account, or my husband doesn't drink Shakeology, and I can't afford it, or I'm scared to do that because I'm not sure if I'm going to be coaching. That's up to you, but you've got to ask yourself what kind of investment you're making in your business. So I say this a lot to the Coach Launchpad group, so I'm sorry you guys are hearing it again. But if you are going to go open up a toddler and baby infant boutique store, or if you're going to go open up like a summertime ready store where you're going to be selling all beach gear, you've got to make investments so that people know that your store is open, right? You're going to be paying for advertising. You're going to be paying for window, so for window images so that people are interested when they walk by your store. You're going to be paying rent for something or a store that you don't even have any income generated in. I mean, I can't tell you how many stores open up in Darien. The doors are open and the person behind the cash register sits there by themselves for weeks. It takes a long time. So you have to think of that. Like, we're not making that much of an investment in our business, right? If we're starting as a coach, we're paying $15 a month on top of a discounted Shakeology, right? So we're only basically paying for what we are consuming. So if you're putting another $15 in, and if you're worried because your spouse or your mom or whoever you're signing up doesn't drink the product, then just sign them up with a challenge pack and put the account on hold. Just pay $15 a month to hold the placement of the account. Okay. So I'm going to share with you something that Jennifer Jackson shared with me. And now Jennifer came on, you guys, let me see if I can find this. Jennifer came on as a coach with another coach who's no longer coaching, okay? And again, this is one of those examples. Why can't I find Jennifer's picture? Oh, here it is. This is one of those examples that it's no one's fault. Jennifer didn't know. Just like when I added my husband, I did not know where to put his, where to put him from a leg standpoint. So I fixed it over time, right? There's never a mistake you can make that we can't fix. But if you look here, Jennifer is here, and her husband is actually on her strong leg, right? Because all of these empty circles are empty circles of inherited volume that she has gotten, right? So if you're in the Coach Launchpad group, you might not understand inherited volume yet, but it basically means that if you're working with a coach that's a selling coach, that's a sharing coach, and they're adding coaches and you're on that person's left leg and they're adding other coaches to your left leg, you're getting paid. You will be getting paid on all of those people that your personally sponsored coach is adding on the same leg as you. So as you can see, Jennifer comes on right here and didn't add Gary, her husband, for I don't even know how long. She would have to indicate in the comments below. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coaches were placed on the same leg before Jennifer signed up her husband. What does that mean? That means that those 7 coaches could have been underneath Gary, right? They could have been on this side. You basically want your spouse account to be filled with other coaches here. And if it's not, then that means that she's not getting any team cycle bonus on any of those people. So there is urgency to put your husband on your leg immediately. And if you can't afford it, or you're not willing to make the investment, or your situation is different, just pay the $15 a month and keep your husband inactive, so that as your coach is growing, and if you're part of this team, chances are you're on a leg that has a lot of volume that's being added to every single week. You're saving that spot so that when your spouse goes emerald, they are able to benefit on all of that volume. Not to mention, you're going to learn the inside leg strategy so that when your husband becomes an emerald coach, they've got all this inherited volume, and then you're actually feeding the weak leg. And Coach Launchpad people are probably like, what are you talking about? It doesn't matter. Just know that there's a strategy that we're going to teach you on how to build your spouse account quickly. So what do I mean by that? Let me share with you what Stefan's account has done. So I don't have it year over year, but I do have it. Here it is. I do have it. Last year, Stefan's account made just under $20,000. So I opened up his account. It'll be 5 years next month, okay? And 4 years in, the account was making $20,000. I want to say the first year, I told you guys the account made, what did that say? Like $200 and something after I was all in terms of my $15 fee. I think the next year it made, I don't know, 7,000. And then it grew. The next year it was over 10. Last year it was 19,970, so just under 20. This year, if I look at his projections, and the reason that I know his projections is because I track his income. I track it quarterly by quarterly. I look at the compound interest in terms of how much the account is growing from a percentage standpoint. I take the average percentage of what my husband's account is growing quarter over quarter, what that looks like from a compound standpoint, and then I'm able to take the average and figure out a projection, okay? Again, all 2.0 stuff that we can work on in Spring Shakedown is going to get that a little bit in the last week, but his projected income for this year will be on the moderate side, $30,000. So $30,000 on top of what Tracy 1 makes, on top of what Tracy 2 makes, on top of what Tracy 3 makes, on top of what Stefan 2 makes. So that's why the multiple business centers is a very great strategy, because every single time you add another business center, you are compounding your wealth by 2.5 times, right? Because you're getting commission now, and then it rolls up, right? So you get commission, volume, 2.5, right? So 2-star, if you're somebody that wants to be a business owner, that wants to grow your account, that wants to grow your income, 2-star has got to be on your dream board. It's got to, because you need that second business center. So That's a very, very small projection for my husband, a very conservative projection. Technically, it can make between 30 and 42,000. I would be surprised if it makes over 42,000 this year. But then next year, depending on what that's going to be, I'll have a better idea once I get to the end of Q3 and Q4 to project what he's going to make, what his account is going to make for 2020. So in closing with that, my husband's account has been Diamond for 3 years. Okay. My husband's account has been a 2-star for 2 years. So, or a year and a half, almost 2 years. So, the Diamond Team Cycle bonus is $18. The Emerald Team Cycle bonus is $14. And sometimes people will think, well, it's only $4 difference. $4 over the course of quarter after quarter after quarter, year after year, as you can see, makes a compound effect in the amount of income that you will make. So you want to have urgency. The strategy that we typically go to is that you're a brand new coach. You want to be starting off adding your spouse immediately to whatever leg your coach is suggesting that you do. I always suggest people add their spouse to the strong leg. That's my strategy. My husband's on my weak leg. I wish he was on my strong. If your spouse is on your weak leg, it's no big deal. There's no right or wrong answer. It just means wherever your spouse is, we have to adjust your strategy, okay? And once you add your spouse, and once you get your spouse Emerald, and once you get yourself to Diamond, and once you're learning then how to take future coaches and funnel your spouse's weak leg, you want to work on getting your spouse to Diamond. And while you're working on getting your spouse to Diamond, you are out there in social media. You are talking about coaches, because that's really where you're able to make an impact, right? Or you're pouring into your challenge groups and you're getting people to have such insane results. They feel good. They have energy. They're happy with the way that their clothes fit. They're in better marriages. They're doing better in their careers if they've got jobs. And once you're having those kind of challenge groups and making those kinds of impacts, you're asking those people to coach, and you keep asking, because it takes 4, 5, 6, 7 times for people to say yes. And you're bringing on new coaches while you're building your spouse account, so that all of your potential new coaches are going to go on the opposite side of your spouse. Your spouse hits Diamond, and then you've got 4 or 5 potential selling coaches. One of them hits Diamond, and that is the fastest way for you to get that 2-star. And then the 2-star business account, so Tracy 2 funnels Stefan 1's weak leg. Okay, so Stefan 1 is getting all this volume on the strong leg, the inherited leg, and I place Tracy 2 underneath Tracy 1, but on Stefan's weak leg. And all of a sudden, boom, 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 my husband's account actually started Team Cycle bonusing at a greater rate, at a faster rate than Tracy 1 did. And you will see that happen to you. It doesn't happen overnight, but after you start that strategy, after you're a 2-star Diamond, you'll start seeing it 6 months, 9 months, 12 months out. You will see a huge impact in your spouse's Team Cycle bonus. So that is why the Team Cycle piece is so important. That's why adding your spouse and having that placement strategy is so important. That's why we've got to have urgency in getting spouse accounts on as quickly as you can. That's why it's important for you to get yourself to Diamond, so that you've got that extra $4 that's making a compound effect, and then learning how to add your husband. Once you get yourself to Success Club 5 or 10, whatever your goal is, you should be funneling people through your spouse account so that he can also get Success Club 5, because then you're getting double the leads, right? I always say I go for Success Club 10. So if I can get Success Club 10 and then Stefan can get Success Club 5, I have paid leads, unpaid leads for Tracy 1, and then I have unpaid leads for Stefan 2. And those unpaid leads, then I have a tracking system for how to funnel those and change them from PV to TV. So not that complicated, but it's a lot to swallow initially. And that's how you're going to understand it. However, where it starts off with, you can learn all this strategy all you want. You can add your spouse account. You can do all the things. But if your mindset is not in the right place, if you don't have the ownership of being a business owner, if you're not eager and questioning and trying to grow yourself so that your own business can grow, none of this means anything. So I hope that you are taking both in conjunction with each other, the compound piece of our income and the mindset piece for us growing as women, as leaders, as encouragers, as just business women, and understanding the business acumen piece of it, so that you guys can find great success in this business. Okay, so thank you. thank you guys for your time. Next week, our calls will be live. Check your schedule. We'll be wrapping up with compensation, and then I'll be doing some follow-up one-on-ones for those of you that want me to look in your downline. I'd be happy to spend some time with you to make sure that you guys feel like you're on the right track. All right, guys, hope you're doing great and you have a great holiday weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.